Welcome to another episode of Leathertainment podcast. We have a very special guest today, Lucy Caille from Bespoq Automotive in UK. They're doing a very unique job on Tesla car seats. Some of you may know Tesla is not using leather in their cars since 2016 or 17. And Lucy and her company is reupholstering Teslas into leather seats. I heard this and I got very excited. I invited her to discuss her work on this episode so we can understand what's going on with Tesla's leather seats. And we're glad that she spared the time with us today. Lucy, welcome. And would you like to start with introducing yourself and your company, your services to us?
Absolutely. Hello, Lucy from Bespoq Automotive. And I'm sitting here today. I thought it was very apt to actually sit inside a Tesla that we have reupholstered. So, yes, Tanner's absolutely correct. The service we offer at Bespoq Automotive is to reupholster Teslas in premium leather upholstery. And not only does that mean that customers get a leather upholstery, they can also choose the color and the design that they wish for their Tesla interior.
That sounds amazing. So I love Tesla. I admire Elon Musk, what he's trying to accomplish with all his companies. And I admire the car Tesla. I've been in one, I've driven one. My brother-in-law has a couple of them. He used to work at Tesla in California. So I kind of know a lot about the factory. I did the factory tour. I love everything about the company car except their seats. So I think I'm gonna buy one at some point, but I'm not gonna sit on the plastic they are using. I'm quite offended in a luxury car that they are choosing to do that. And I would like to understand more why they're doing it, what other customers think about it. Obviously, I'm biased against leather. I don't want to impose my views on people, but I would like to understand from you your experience, how is the original material they're using and all that stuff. So we're gonna get to discuss all this stuff. But before we get to there, how did you start doing this? It's a pretty niche business, where the idea came from and how it is shaped so far.
Yes, well, it started with another business that we own and operate called Glamper RV. And at Glamper RV, we create bespoke motorhomes. So we paint the outsides into lots of bright colors. We do up the interiors with lots of fabulous fabrics and, of course, quality leather interiors. And it was that the transformation, both aesthetically and from a look and a feel inside the motorhome with the leather interior, is huge. We also realized that for the usability, it ticked all the boxes. So there were lots of aspects of that transferred over. And then it came to us wanting to buy a Tesla. And like you, Tanner, huge respect for the Tesla, what Elon Musk is creating. Absolutely amazing car. I drive it every day and I just love it. But the interior just didn't cut it for us. And so we decided that actually this is what we need to do. We take all the skills that we've learned from the motorhome business and we transfer them into the Tesla business. And like we did with the motorhome business, it started out that we created something for ourselves. And 5 years later, we've got a decent sized business operating. The same with the Tesla interior. We did it for ourselves. And then we had people see it and say, the reason I haven't bought a Tesla is because I hate the interior. And then we were realizing that there were people out there, especially, people who are used to luxury cars, maybe people who live in a city that they're being forced to buy an EV because of the emissions issues that are affecting regular cars. So they're going out into the market, they're thinking Tesla, that's got the best performance, but crikey, it's not comparable with the major manufacturers in terms of the options that you can get. So it really, as I said, it started for ourselves. We wanted to transform our Tesla, and that's just led to a chain reaction. And that's why we're here today.
Perfect story of a great entrepreneurial company starting up, you know. You're trying to solve your own problem and then you do it in a great way because you have passion and skill set, and people start seeing it and it turns into a business, you know. It's not like, you know, you should sit down, write down a business plan and all that stuff, not the formal way, but the way I really love. That's kind of how uh, good businesses start, in my opinion. So great story, and I'm very happy to hear that. I'm not the only guy thinking, you know, Tesla is an amazing car, but I'm not gonna buy it because of the plastic seat. You were the, you know, there's at least one more that thought like me that started a business out of it, and
And
you
keep
have
it pure.
customers that agrees with you. So that's great. Like it kind of relieves me. I'm not the weird one here. So very happy to hear that. So why do people want to reupholster their Teslas? Like, I kind of know the obvious reasons, but is there anything that you hear differently, different reasoning from people, interesting stories? Do they bring it to you when they just bought it, or they drive it for a while and then they want to change it? Any stories of the reasons people want to change to leather from the original non-leather seat?
I think one of the main reasons we get from people time and time again is that the lack of options. You know, when you go and buy a Tesla in the UK market, I can't say for other markets, you can choose black or you can choose black. If you want to spend another £1,000, you can choose a white, but that's it. So
Right.
you're buying a car that is price wise at the luxury end, the performance wise, it's at the high performance end, but you're not getting any options. And I can totally understand it from Tesla's perspective. They are trying to develop Tesla into a mass market brand that everybody will drive. And that you can see in their planning for their next cars, that that's what they're looking at. They're looking to drive the costs down and to well, obviously increase quantity. I think Elon Musk has said that sales of Tesla have potential to be infinite. So
Mhm.
that is clearly his vision, that everybody will drive a Tesla. And so the Tesla is not designed as a luxury car, albeit at this current moment in time, it's at a luxury price point. But you get in a Tesla, you drive a Tesla, the performance is incredible. And so people are, you know, wanting to buy a Tesla because of that performance, and they're happy to spend the money that it requires at this moment in time. And those people are used to having, I'm not saying all of them, but there's a large percentage of those people who are used to having sports cars. They're used to having high end luxury cars, and they expect to have options for their interior. And if that is from an aesthetic perspective, from the look of it, that they don't want black or white, but they want
Right.
a tan colour or a pale blue colour or whatever colour they decide. If they want stitching that is slightly different, this has got a, I don't know if you can see, it's got a nice Bentley
Yes, I
stitch
can.
on the
Hmm.
inner pad. And, you know, there are lots of
Beautiful.
different options that you can give. And so I think that's why people are coming to us and deciding that they want to transfer. And it's generally people when they're in the first stages of buying it, um, that we're getting people coming. So it's a quite a specific market of city folk who are um, who are probably, you know, who are very discerning about their cars. And they also, I think people want to be individual. And so we're buying something that's sold for everybody, and we're being told that a car is just a mode of transport to get us from A to B, and there shouldn't be any emotional attachment to your car because it's purely a functional piece of metal. But
Right.
the people who have grown up with a passion for cars, their cars will always have that emotional bond, and so they want to have that in all aspects.
Absolutely. Great point you touched upon here. I don't see cars as just a vehicle, that gets me from a place A to B. I think I see him as a part of my family. I have names for our cars in our family. Like we name them, we don't we call them by their names, and they helps us in a tremendous way. It makes your life a lot easier, and there is an emotional connection to it. And probably it's coming from my passion for cars as well. I like cars. I always loved driving. I was a cab driver in Chicago for 3 years, super long driving hours. I never got tired or bored of driving. So I just love cars. I love being in cars, and I love liking the car I'm driving. So, that's those are the reasons I love the Tesla. It's great design, great performance, beautiful car. But also I love leather. I love the luxury feel of leather. So I like to add that personal touch to it. But all the reasons you said from the Teslas and Elon Musk's standpoint is true. I understand it. I completely agree with his decisions to keep things simple, right? He's trying to achieve
Yeah.
a tremendous accomplishment here. He's going against, hundreds years of industry giants, the brand names, and he's literally like beating them big time. So you can't do everything to everybody's liking and then be that successful. You have to focus on key aspects of your business and value you want to deliver. So probably the color of
Absolutely.
the seats or the choices is not in his vision. His goal is
Mm.
different, and he's like probably like the Henry Ford. You can get your Ford in any color as long as it's black. He's just gonna focus on making them faster and cheaper so more people can buy it and all that stuff. From an entrepreneurial standpoint, I'm 100% with him. But from a consumer standpoint, I absolutely hate the decision of eliminating leather um, completely. At least probably can have a leather choice people who love leather can pick. And the second thing I really don't get on board with the use of vegan leather as the material they use in these original seats. Here is my theory.
Yeah.
I haven't done enough research to confirm this. I think there's a lot of animal groups advocating against leather, and there was pressure against Tesla at some point. You are a leading company, changing a lot of things in the car industry. Why don't you go animal free, cruelty free? There's a lot of lies in the leather and cruelty aspect of the leather industry. And for some reason, Tesla marketing just bought in pretty quickly, didn't do their own research, due diligence, and they're like, okay, we're going to be animal free and we're going to call it vegan leather. And they got on the trend of relabeling PU material, the plastic materials, as vegan leather, which is somehow deceptive on the border of greenwashing, in my opinion. So, what do you think about this vegan leather label they use for their original seeds? And what's really the composition of this material that you're ripping apart, and how much do you know about it?
Well, yeah, I think you're right. The vegan leather is just another word for plastic. Um, as a leather enthusiast, we all know the lovely value of leather when it wears and the patina that you get, and that's what you get, that durability on leather, and you can moisturize it, you can live with it. The vegan leather, so yes, I think environmentally it doesn't really stack up because the pollutants are quite significant. They're obviously trying to appease the lobby groups with the vegan title. I think another point that is of interest in this EV sector is that the vegan leather is much lighter than the traditional animal hides. And this is
Yeah.
potentially, when they're testing the cars, when they're selling the cars, it's all about the range. So when you're trying to manage the weight of the batteries in an EV, you're trying to strip out as much weight in the vehicle as possible to get the best range for the car. So, I think there are various factors that Tesla have taken into account when they've gone this vegan leather route. My view on the animal, the real leather, is that leather continues to be a byproduct of meat production. Real leather is there, and there's a very sustainable industry for it. So I think what is the vegan leather that they're using, I believe it's a sort of bamboo based product at the moment, but I think it's changing all the time. So I think they're probably trying to move away from, this sort of PU um, materials, and try and find something that is sustainable. So, I have to, you have to respect what they've chosen. Um,
Right.
but as leather enthusiasts and as automotive and car enthusiasts, it just wouldn't be our choice.
Absolutely, yeah, and those reasons incredibly valid. EV cars, you need to go for lighter materials, and I understand it. And it's cheaper, you're trying to save cost as a manufacturer, as an entrepreneur, absolutely. And uh, it goes along with the mindset of electric vehicle consumers. They are the cutting edge. They're thinking about environment. So this animal cruelty story, although it's false, goes well, it pleases them. We're vegan, we're animal friendly. So I understand all the points of alignment of that decision. And one thing I'm a little confused for, that the first time I've heard that bamboo-based material, but I couldn't find any detailed information about what is this vegan leather made out of. Like, I couldn't find it on Tesla's website, and I did some reading. I only found some complaints about failing apart um, um, that vegan leather seeds online, but I'm gonna do a little bit more research. And no matter which um, plant-based materials being used, there's still quite a bit of PUs and glues involved, uh, that making it not really that sustainable that people think of it is. Because as you said, the normal upholstery hides are coming from the milk and meat industry, which regardless Tesla uses leather or not, these hides are going to be produced because animals are not raised for that leather or not killed for that leather. Then if Tesla is not using this already existing leather material, then they're going to have to go create a plastic-based material, create a new demand, and create new pollution to make that product. So I think it's absolutely less sustainable. And a lot of companies making the due diligence after hearing these claims. I'm not sure if you have heard of the Polestar, another electric vehicle company based of Australia.
Yes.
They did they hear about these sustainability concerns. They did their own research for about 2 years, and at the end of the 2 years, they ended up coming back to leather because there was no other material checking most of the boxes in their list of sustainability as leather does. And they also encourage
Mm.
other car companies to do their own research before jumping into these claims on the marketing and trends side.
Yes,
So,
interesting.
yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping to get somebody from Polestar to discuss this on a episode here. I would like to hear about their research and how they found leather coming more sustainable than others. But I haven't get a chance to reach somebody yet. But I'm trying my chances.
Oh, that
And
sounds
going
interesting.
to the next question here, what type of leathers do you use to reupholster the original material, and how does it change the feel of the car? Can you share some customer feedback, your own experience?
Yeah, sure. So, firstly, we use the premium, soft premium Napa leather. They're coming from a factory in Italy, and the key for us is that the environmental controls when the dyes are used, the dyeing process is really strict, and according to all the laws in place in the EU. Um, and then in terms of the quality of the leather we're using, um, the quality of the leather is reflective of the life of the animals. So if an animal's had a good life, that they've been farmed sustainably, ethically, they're going to produce good skin. It's just like you and me. If we eat a healthy diet, we're going to have good skin. And so that's, really what we're looking for when we're choosing the auto hides. Um, and I think the key thing in terms of the feel it gives. So you've got, I wish you could smell and sort of touch what
Oh, I
I've
wish I
got
could
around me
smell it.
here, because this is there's something about the leather, the way you maintain it, the softness of it. on the seat, it just feels and smells fabulous in the car. The maintenance of it is so easy in terms of keeping that subtleness because it's already a good soft um, leather. You can keep that, and so for us, that part of it is really key. But you've also got the look of it. Changing the colours is something that is really important to me as a person. I want to have an interior that reflects my style. It's like the interior of your house. We said this when we were creating our motorhomes, that when people buy a motorhome or an RV, they're produced in a very linear way. So, sort of one size fits all in terms of the interior style. But we all have different tastes. So we all want to have, you know, the walls, the curtains, the fabrics we use personalized to our taste. And so that's what we're trying to do in that business. And I think it's very much the same with Bespoq Automotive. You've got the quality of the leather, which is absolutely crucial to what we're doing, but you've also got that individuality in terms of the look of the vehicle. And anybody who has a passion for cars will know that, there are certain interiors that go with certain exteriors. Um,
Yeah.
if you're buying a a blue Porsche 911, you're not going to choose a black interior. It just,
Right.
you wouldn't. So
It doesn't
it's
work.
kind of like if you're spending, similar budgets on a Tesla, why can't you have the interior you want?
Exactly. I think that's actually a greater reason than I originally imagined. My bias is too strong that I'm getting a Tesla. I'm not going to sit on a plastic. I want leather. But I think the reason of individuality and making your car's interior, your home, your liking, your taste and expression of yourself is a lot more stronger and a lot more common reason for most people to do reupholstering action. And um, you know, the options are limitless. The colors, the stitches, the little perforations, the design you can go with to embellish your Tesla's interior. I think it's very exciting opportunity. Um, Definitely, whenever I get my Tesla, that's what I'm going to do. I don't know if anybody like you doing this in US. I'm going to look it up, but you're doing a great service in UK to the Tesla and car fans here. I really appreciate that. And to to do this work, how expensive it is to get a Tesla reupholstered using real leather, good leather you guys are using here? Like, what's the budgets? If it's a range changing
Yeah,
depending on the options, feel free to comment that way.
yeah. So the ballpark figure, if you're looking for, I've got we're in a Model 3 here. You're looking at the seats, you're looking at the glove box, you're looking at the door trims because it all, you want it all to match. So I might just move
Right.
my so you can see here we've got the
Beautiful.
console, and then if you can see if we get
Beautiful.
the door trims,
Yep.
yeah, there we
I
go.
can see the door trims
Um,
too. That's awesome.
so that gives you a feel. So something like that, doing a complete job on that, is just under £5,000.
That's not bad at all.
So it's a pretty competitive price for what you're getting in terms of the improvement in your
Hmm.
car.
Right, exactly. Given the knowing the price of the leather and how much work is involved, I think it's a very, very fairly priced work. So it's no
Mm.
surprise that your business is growing. It's a great service, fair price. I love to find and help people find these businesses. So love it. Definitely gonna do when I get mine. Um,
Yes, we might have grown into the US by that stage, but who knows?
Well, yeah, exactly. Why not, right? I'm sure it's a bigger market in terms of Teslas on the street. These days, I am surprised how many Teslas are on the roads here. I live in Dallas.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
Like thinking this is a so new company, so new car, so limited options. They don't even have that many models or options. and they're all over the
Yeah.
place and they're growing like weeds. It's impressive. So it might be a
Yeah.
good expansion
It's
for your company.
it's really impressive. I mean, we got into the Tesla market in 20 beginning of 2021, when we bought our first Tesla. And at that stage in the UK, there were very few Teslas. You know, people would want to stop and have a look at it because it was so novel.
Mhm.
Whereas 2 years, 2.5 years on, they're everywhere. It's a Ford, you know. And I think that's Tesla's aim. They're becoming a mass market. They're not interested in trying to be a luxury goods good. They want to be a mass market. Um,
That's right.
but you know, that's where their aim and owners' aims are slightly different.
Right, exactly. Well, it's a great business opportunity to expand into US. I think like I don't know if you guys are looking for some partners here, I might be interested. So I'm into Teslas, I'm into leather, I'm in US. So
Okay, okay, okay. Tick, tick, tick.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So going to the next question here. Some people say they prefer PU over the real leather, and usually their reasons are in the car upholstery, the ease of cleanability, the maintenance, and it looks newer for a longer time because it doesn't age, it just stays the same looking for a while and then it falls apart. So that's usually the curve of the plastic PU leather alternatives in regardless you use it in bags or wherever. Plastic is easy to clean, it doesn't get contaminated quickly, and then it starts drying and then flaking and it's irreparable, it goes to the landfill. So on the other hand, leather comes to you here and it ages, in my opinion, leather ages gracefully and then it just starts looking better with that darker shade, especially if you care for it. So
Yeah.
how is your approach on this, and somehow objective pros and cons of PU or leather alternatives versus leather in the car upholstery?
I think, as you say, you know, the key to having leather is looking after it. You know, you're going for a premium finish, so it needs some love, it needs some care. Um, and that's just keeping it moisturized. You've just got to think of leather like your skin. You've got to keep it healthy. Um, and so, but it has all the same qualities as the PU in terms of the cleanability. Spillages aren't a problem. It wipes down really well. Just look after it. And then, as you said, it actually improves with age because you've got this wonderful patina that it gives. And so you're not going to have the leather seating that falls apart as you do with the plastic seats. So I think there's just huge advantages, and you know you can't um, you can't replace something that's of such quality.
That's right. Like, there are some benefits if you're especially into it. I don't know, maybe you have small kids. I have small kids now, which is not a good
Mm.
enough reason for me to choose PU seats. But it could be easier to clean because they spill things all over your car, and you don't want to deal with the mess and try to care for your leather.
Yeah.
And that might be a choice, but other than that, I really don't see much benefits, especially in the long run, choosing PU over leather.
Yeah, I think there are very few reasons why you would choose it. And I think even leather can clean as well as the plastic, even with small kids. We've seen it with our motorhomes. We've sort of tested it personally with small kids a few years ago, and they uh, they wipe down brilliantly.
That's great. So I think we need to tell more about people like leather is also easily cleanable. Maybe show them how you can maintain or clean your leathers. So you don't have to be scared of, leather is gonna get dirty, it's not gonna age well, and all that stuff. So they actually have a better
No,
understanding of maintenance.
and I think the leathers used in the automotive industry are much more durable than those used in, say, the fashion industry in bags, etc. because you've got the leather in a car. It's got to withstand extreme temperatures. It's got to it, you know it's got to withstand all the wear and tear it gets. So it's a much more, although it's, and I said at the beginning, it's that balance between having a soft leather and having something that's durable. And I think for those reasons, the auto leather industry really creates a product that is very fit for purpose.
Absolutely. And by the way, I just want to give a little bit background in upholstery, leather upholstery. Sometimes when people say, I want to get into leather work, I'm going to upholster my car seat or my motorbike seat, motorcycle seat, it's like, can I buy a piece of leather? Well, don't. First, you can, but don't because upholstery seats are extremely specific. It is tanned specifically, it is dyed specifically, it is finished specifically. There's huge requirements of that task being upholstery. There's a lot of friction on it. There's elements. If it's open in the air, the rain, snows, extreme temperatures. So this makes making upholstery leather is a whole entire separate space within the tannery industry, which I don't have much experience. I haven't done upholstery in my life. I have huge respect for it. People dedicate their lives to this career and they keep improving upon it, especially if you're a supplier for one of these major brands. They have spec sheets that are very difficult to accomplish and maintain every batch of leather you're making. Super,
Mm,
super complicated stuff. So it's really not that easy. It's a art and science together. Leather being a natural material coming from an animal, it always looks different from season to season, region to region. You have
of
to
course, yeah.
standardize and make it durable enough to all those very tough conditions that it has to endure. So big respect for upholstery leather manufacturers in the space. In the sustainability side of this leather being used in cars. Can you share a bit more about your thoughts, maybe your discussions with some of the clients? People come to you, they have vegan leather seat cars and they want to change it. Maybe they ask you about this or they tell their own story, what they think about it. What can you share about the sustainability side of leather or non-leather use in the car space?
Yeah, I think I'll go back to the point that, leather being a byproduct of meat and milk production is that, leather is a very sustainable product. And I think you know, as long as we're careful about the tanning process and the processes that are used, that they're not using chemicals, that they're not, they're being environmentally friendly, I think we have a very sustainable option here. The plastic products are much more likely to pollute as they break down, and they're potentially much more harmful to the environment.
Absolutely, absolutely. But there's another thing I'm trying to understand or have a little bit difficulty understanding. The other day I was at a Lexus dealer. I'm trying to review Lexus leather. So I went there. I wanted to check their non-leather option. They call it New Lux and their Napa leather option. So I was shocked that the dealer told me about 85-90% of the cars they sell is non-leather. And they didn't have one single car in the lot. Out of hundreds of cars they have in stock, none of them had leather seat that I can see, touch, and feel to understand how Lexus the leather was. And Lexus, in my opinion, it's one of the luxury brands in US here, and luxury cars usually associated with leather seats. So, especially Tesla, Lexus not being an EV brand or anything, they moved so much away from leather, and I'm trying to understand like what are the reasons, like what's the justification behind it? Does the consumer want this, or it's simply a decision from the brand because it's cheaper, it's easier to maintain, and it looks like the same, and no one can really tell the difference. We're gonna move away with that. What's your opinion on that? And it's happening across all major brands.
I think it is, and where brands have always, where possible, they've always put a a fake leather or a vinyl with the leather in areas that you don't see in the car to try, they're so cost driven. And I think the majority of um, individuals buying any car will be happy with what they're told from a dealer in terms of, this is sustainable, it's easy to clean, um, it's going to wear better potentially, in the short term anyway, and they'll believe that because they don't have the
Right, right.
knowledge, they don't have the insight, they don't have the passion. And so if it means that they can then be more competitive on price as a manufacturer, why not tell that to your customer? It's probably, I really think it's the more discerning customers who are passionate about their cars, who perhaps own you know, a sports car. Um, and they're the ones who are saying, I don't buy this. I know about my cars.
Right.
I want that feel of the leather, and I'm not interested in the alternatives. But I think for the mass market, they're happy to take what they're being told.
Absolutely. I think that's what's being happening. The main reason is the cost savings and being competitive in the car market and justifying with the trends and, borderline greenwashing claims that's better than leather, sustainable than leather, and things like that. It's sad, but I'm gonna do research and review all these materials out there in the market so most of us, have a little bit more information when making decisions. Yeah. Um, What's the most luxurious leather you have seen in cars so far? As far as a standard seat from, coming out of the factory. In UK it could be different. You guys have different brands as well there. Um, Bentleys and Rolls-Royce maybe. Anything that comes out from the factory that's really unique. Anything you can share?
So I think it's like what I said, the high-end manufacturers, if you buy a Bentley, if you buy a Rolls-Royce, if you buy a Porsche, these top level sports cars and luxury cars, you're getting the most beautiful leather interiors. It's when you go to the more mass market where you're not getting the same quality. So I think, when I I haven't had the privilege of being in too many ultra um, luxury sports cars, but I have been in the Bentleys and in the Porsches, and even in a McLaren sports car, and the leather they're using is just so soft and so lovely to look at that you can understand why people who are buying that sort of car love quality leather.
Absolutely. And again, within itself in that upholstery category, as you said, it's a variety of choices or finishes you can go with. Leather, to make it a upholsterable leather, usually you're gonna go with very durable finishes so it doesn't come off, the color come off on you or break or crack with the heats and temperatures. While applying such strong finishes, how do you maintain the natural look of leather? How do you still preserve and accentuate the grain of the leather so it still looks natural, not like super standard? Is a very difficult balance in the tannery developing those leathers. I'm sure those uh, top luxury brands are, going for super refined finishes that achieves that balance, super soft to touch. You still feel the liveliness of leather and see it
Mm.
while having all those requirements met and durability standards are accomplished. On the lower end, you can actually make simpler upholstery leather by using very thick layers of finish, which is then not very difficult to accomplish the requirements, but then you're gonna lose the touch and look of the leather because of the very thick finishes
Mm.
on top. So it's kind of a balance as well. So whenever
It,
you're looking
yeah.
as
It,
audience, you're looking at the leather, it's just listen to your senses. What would be your recommendation on people? Uh, how can they tell the quality of leather in their car?
yeah, and I think if you feel the difference in leather, between one of the a cheaper auto leather and the very top end. There's a big difference. It's a bit like, buying a small Ford to buying a Bentley. There's, a massive difference in the leathers that you can get for cars. And, our job with what we're doing with Bespoq Automotive is to find a quality somewhere which fits a price that matches the Tesla. When we were starting out and we were looking at various options, there are companies who are producing hides, probably 10 times almost what we're paying. Um, and there are
Right.
companies who are producing hides that are, you know, a tenth of what we're paying. So, we kind of feel that we've got a middle ground with something that's got a really lovely luxury feel, but is at the right price point. And that's like any business. You're trying to find something that's going to meet the needs of your customer whilst you know delivering what they expect.
Absolutely. Fitting the project in hand. Definitely.
And lots
All
of
right.
people won't
Yeah.
realize the variation in leathers that you can get. So it's something it's very interesting, and it's an interesting area. And I think the research you're looking to do into different automotive manufacturers and what they're using is very interesting. So I'll be watching out carefully for that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm curious too. It's so much learning for myself. I hope one day I could get my hands on a Bentley car seat and at least look at it and inspect it and share my findings and understanding with people versus, pretty mediocre or lower end car seats that we find on the market. But at the end, it's fun. We learn and we make better decisions, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything else you would like to add to this conversation in terms of focusing on Tesla, but leather seats and cars?
I think the leather part of it, I'm really, sold on, and I'm interested to, for people listening to this podcast, people watching it, what their feedback is. What designs do they like? Do they like the Bentley stitch like we've got in this? Do they prefer a fluted stitch? Do they like a plain design? Do they like the option of having different colors? Do they like leather and fabric mixes? There are so many different options you can have when it comes to an interior and have some real fun with. So I'm hoping that some of your listeners will give us some good feedback on that.
Oh, that's a perfect call, actually. I love that you opened this up, which never happened in one of the podcasts before. So let's ask the audience's opinion on that, and I might ask you for some footage from your work, maybe different types of leathers that you apply, or different types of stitches, designs you have in the shop, different colors. Maybe just a couple video recordings if you can send me we can overlay onto this conversation and maybe they can get to choose, oh, the red one is great or the stitching is great. They might not be able to envision immediately what's the flute stitching or Bentley stitching it is or the colors, but if we can give them some options in the visuals, I'm sure some people will share their likings and tastes.
Yeah, that would be great. I'll try and do that for you.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. And lastly, I always ask this as a final question, where can people find you and your services if they want to do this Tesla upholstering? But also, I heard that you have the RV, custom RV interior design business as well, which is another dream of mine in the future. But another thing I would love to do, and the leather interior sounds amazing. I didn't know people did that as well. So where do they find both businesses and when and how do they reach you?
Sure. Well, they're two separate businesses. So the Tesla interior business is Bespoq Automotive. So that's bespokeautomotive.co.uk is our website address. And we're also on social media at Bespoq Auto. And the RV business is called Glamper RV. And again,
Hmm.
the glamperrv.co.uk and at Glamper RV across social media. So we make ourselves very easy to find.
I love the both businesses' names, by the way. I think you guys have good branding. Glamper RV definitely tells me what to expect from the from the work. And Bespoke Auto also is very cool business name. Great
Thank
choices.
you.
And how do they reach you? Do they reach you on social media, or it's better to send an email via the website?
Oh, anyway, we're very responsive. So
Awesome. All right, sounds great. Well, this is
great.
all my questions. This was really fun to talking to you, understanding the Tesla's upholstery work you do over there. Thank you for having the time with us here, and just keep up the great work and let me know when you guys are in US, so maybe I can look at buying a Tesla at that point.
Well, thanks very much for having me on. I've really enjoyed it today. And yes, I will. Noted.
Absolutely.